myself. Let's say good morning to and welcome to Artesia, Anita Braun, the Executive Director of Haven of Hope. Good morning, Anita.
Good morning. How are you?
Great. Glad you could be here. And we were just talking before we went on the air. You are a new resident of Artesia.
I am. I have been here since May 27th.
May 27th, but
I'm loving it.
Yeah, but you're not new to New Mexico.
No, I grew up in Hobbs.
Okay.
So I'm just down the road.
Yeah, but you're now the Executive Director. You just took over that position for Haven of Hope just, June 1st, I think you said?
Yes, I did.
So, well, how exciting for you?
Thank you. I'm so excited to be in Artesia and to be with Haven of Hope. I love the mission of this organization. I've been in nonprofit management for 12 years, and this is so exciting to be at the ground floor of a brand new organization that's so innovative.
Mm-hmm. So when you applied for the job, or how, you don't have to give all the details, but did somebody reach out to you, or did you see it, and what was it about it, either the post or the information that you learned that said, hey, I need to try to do this?
I did run across it online,
mm-hmm.
and it said, Artesia, New Mexico, new nonprofit. It's like, what? Something in this neck of the woods?
Yep.
And when I started reading about what Haven of Hope is, serving single mothers and their children, helping them prepare for the future, it was like a lightning bolt that hit me that said, you must apply to this. So I did everything I could to reach out, and here I am.
Now, you mentioned that in your prior life, you were part of the CASA program, right?
Yes.
In Lee County?
Yes, I was executive director there.
Mm-hmm. And then have there been some other nonprofit organizations that you've been a part of?
I was a charter board member of Habitat for Humanity of Lee County.
Okay.
Another nonprofit foundation I was involved with was the New Mexico Junior College Foundation, and helped do a lot of fundraising and scholarship divvying out.
That's always fun when you get to do that.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So, but now you're the Executive Director of Haven of Hope, and for those that, I think some people remember the discussions about where it was going to be built and how that all got resolved, and they've probably driven out on Ritchie and have seen the construction going on out there, but they may not know much beyond, well, that looks like condos, or that looks like apartments or something like that. So kind of give us a little bit of a background of what Haven of Hope is going to be.
Well, what Haven of Hope is going to be is, like the name says, it's a haven. It's a safe place for single women and their children to live because the mother is in financial crisis.
Okay.
They're not homeless, but missing one paycheck might put them in that position. This will be a safe place for them to live for 18 to 24 months while they learn financial management, while maybe they fill in educational gaps that have prevented them from being fully employed so they can be competitive in the housing market here. We know that housing is expensive. Mm-hmm. It's expensive throughout southeast New Mexico. It's the same story in Hobbs.
Right.
But if you're undereducated or underemployed, you can't compete. So the higher percentage of your income is going toward housing, and you can't afford the other essentials that are needed. So we're a place where they can pay off debt. They can learn to do that through education that we'll be providing. We have a community volunteer to help us go through the Dave Ramsey Financial Peace University.
Okay.
Once they get that debt paid off and go through the baby steps, they're going to be leaving us with a really nice savings account, because let's just say someone was spending $1,000 a month on rent. They can live with us for $50 a month, no utilities. So now they're probably saving maybe $1,200, $1,400 a month.
Sure. That
they can put toward debt retirement,
mm-hmm.
and then put toward savings. They can also get maybe a certificate in school, or finish up a degree they maybe started and stopped,
mm-hmm.
And then leave us and be able to buy their own home or be in a position to be competitive, like I said earlier.
Right. Get something a little nicer. So
right.
I take it these women are going to come maybe from an apartment or a home situation that they can't afford, or they're
just hanging on. Their
on.
nose is just right above the water, and
mm-hmm.
So we're going to help get them out of that stressful place. They can relax their brains, their bodies, their hearts. We're speaking of heart and their minds. If someone has a need for mental health counseling,
mm-hmm.
we'll get them connected to that. You name it, life skills, we'll be right there to help them and mentor them, to help them just have a a brighter future.
Now, are these fully independent apartments in this complex, or are there common facilities that they'll be
So we call
using?
this the cottage because it's basically like one large home with a very large kitchen, a very large living area, large play area, study space. Then there's a long hallway with 6 bedrooms where we can accommodate up to 6 families.
Okay.
Now, if there's a mom with several children, we can combine a couple of rooms. So then maybe we'll just be serving 5 families at that point. But yeah, it looks like a very large home with a wing of bedrooms.
Okay.
Now, attached to that is a 2-bedroom apartment where our staff member called the Family Life Coordinator will live.
Okay.
FLC, make it shorter. And the FLC is going to be managing that cottage, but mentoring our residents. They'll be their best friend.
Okay.
And also be very honest and truthful. If someone's doing something that's not productive, the FLC is going to step in and show them a different way to do things.
Okay. Now, so it's women
Yes, and their children.
and their children. Is there a limit to how many children the women have, or what type of parameters are you putting out there?
Our parameter is they need to have custody of at least one child under the age of 18.
Okay.
We're just going to see what comes our way. Now, if someone has 8 children, we may have to think about how can we accommodate this family,
Right.
according to who else is already in our facility.
Right.
We're just going to have to roll with it.
Roll with that. Now, are these single women then? Mm-hmm. Okay, so they're not married. They've either been divorced or
they could be married or separated.
Separated.
But they are no longer with their partner.
Okay, so it's just the mother and the children and no one else there. So hopefully they have a job, or maybe they don't have a job, or maybe they don't have a job, but they need to get a job. Is there going to be some
let
assistance
me clarify there.
Sure.
So people must be employed or
Okay.
going to school or both.
Okay.
Okay, so if someone's not motivated enough to be working or going to school toward getting a degree to be employable, they're not going to qualify for our program.
Yeah.
They must be highly motivated.
Okay. Well, then at some point they may look around and go, this is a pretty good situation. I don't want to leave. So I'm sure there's a goal then that you're trying to achieve with the individuals
Yes.
to where they can then move out and then someone else can come in.
Right, and that'll be explained to our residents as they come in, and then we'll have monthly meetings with them as far as goal setting, and the goal will be independence, and they'll understand that from the beginning.
Yeah, that's really amazing how this is being done. Who all has been working to put all of this together? Who are some of the folks that are making this happen?
Oh, this whole community. This idea came through Hanson Yates, and the PY Foundation has been instrumental in getting this put together. Initially, the land was donated by Mr. Gray and Mr. Chandler, and then Peyton Yates Foundation stepped up and they volunteered to build the location for us. And then a board of directors that was pulled together for people throughout the community, and they have been working like, I can't believe the amount of work they've done prior to me getting here. We were actually trying to calculate their volunteer hours over the past 1.5 to 2 years. It's extraordinary how many hours they put in, and they are all quite relieved that someone like me is here to help them out. But Anna Kelly is our board president. Laura Netherland is our board secretary.
Okay.
Pat Wood is our treasurer. She's an incredible accountant, very helpful. And then we have Judy Stewart, Sherry Bratcher, and Noreen Teal rounds out our board of directors.
Okay, that is great. And now they can say that's an Anita question.
Yes, I sure can. And I'm happy to answer.
That's right. That's right. Now, you mentioned that there's going to be a cottage for the
residents.
The residents are living in the big house, but then you said there's going to be a cottage for the L.
Oh, I apologize. Is one building called the Cottage, and that will accommodate the families plus our staff member called the FLC, the Family Life Coordinator.
Okay.
And
Do you have a family life coordinator picked yet?
not yet.
Oh,
and I'm
so-
taking applications right now.
So this is an open position
Yes,
for
it
someone.
is.
Okay.
Yes, it is. If anyone is interested in working with others, you can go to our website, havenofhopenm.com,
Okay.
or look on indeed.com for our post. It's also been posted on our Facebook page. Haven of Hope, NM.
Okay.
That NM is very important. So don't forget the NM.
So there are other organizations or
called Haven of Hope.
facilities like this around the country?
Not exactly like this. We
Okay.
are modeled after an organization in Houston called Gracewood. If people are interested in that, gracewood.org, I believe, is their website.
Okay.
There are other organizations that do very similar work, but I think where we're different from others is that we're very proactive in approaching people before they become homeless.
Okay.
There's still such great hope for people to turn their lives around. And I think it's a very unique position that Artesia has put itself in. I just find it so innovative to look at this situation, to truly look at it and not look away and say, yes, there are people in our community that are in this place that they need help and they're willing to get help. There was a feasibility study done about 2 years ago that found that, yes, this it's not just us thinking it.
There is a need for this.
There is a need.
Yeah. Now, are there future plans to maybe add additional cottages and expand them up to accommodate more people, or is this going to kind of be the core group that we're going to work with?
No, this is just the beginning.
The beginning, okay.
With almost 14 acres of land, there is space for us to build additional cottages as well as duplexes where people who have graduated out of that initial 12-month period called the family care program of the intense working with them, like weekly meetings, this and that. After 12 months, they may be ready for more independence, but not quite ready. Maybe they haven't finished that degree they're working on. So we want to build duplexes someday for them to live in, and so they can have more independence, but still be connected.
Okay. So how does one apply, or what's going to be the application price? Where are the potential candidates for residents going to come from?
Well, starting next week at the fair, we're going to have a booth, and I'll actually have paper applications out there.
Okay.
And we will have applications available online on our website. Again, that's havenofhopenm.com.
.com. Okay, and that's where the applications and the application.
Yes.
So is and again, you've mentioned that there are going to be single moms with their families, with their kids. Some of them may be separated, some of them may be divorced. When they come over to the Haven of Hope program, is this a commitment that they can't get back together with their husband, or their life situation, they have to commit to the program for a certain period of time before their, quote, life can change? What are the thoughts on how that might work out?
We want people to have healthy relationships, but we're not going to have overnight guests.
Right.
We're not going to have any type of thing like that. So there will be
Well, I wasn't necessarily going there, but I'm just thinking, say somebody's divorced and they're hanging on the edge and they go through the program and they really improve their whole financial situation, and then the husband X does the same thing someplace else, and they decide maybe it's time to try to get back together again.
Well, with hope in our name, I would hope that people could heal and figure out a way to have a healthy family again. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay. So at that point, they could then leave.
Sure.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, we're not going to tell someone they can't have a relationship with someone. It just won't happen on our property.
Understood. That's great. And hopefully the residents will understand that this is not an overnight process to get things straightened out and get the knowledge that you need to get back on track again. That this does
It took a while to get into that place, and it's going to take a while to get out, just like getting braces on your teeth. It just takes a while.
So initially you'll have be able to accommodate how many?
Up to 6.
Up to 6. Okay. And their kids.
Yes.
And but they have to be working or
going to school,
or a combination of the two in order to initially be eligible for consideration.
Right. So. There's some other considerations. In fact, you have a brochure right there. We do have quite a vetting process.
Okay.
Of course, no criminal background.
Right.
Particularly no felonies whatsoever. No open CYFD cases.
Which is pretty important.
It's very important. Especially, I come from the child abuse and neglect world. That's incredibly important to me personally.
Right. Which is the CASA program.
Yes, yes. So they need to have their own transportation, because if they're going to work or going to school, they need to be able to get there.
Right.
And so this is part of being, already being an independent person, having transportation. Artesia doesn't have public transportation, so they're going to need to take care of that.
That's right. And that's part of what they'll be learning is when the tire goes flat, you got to have enough money to fix the tire so you can get to work, Yeah.
Exactly.
All those
Exactly.
things. They have to be at least 18, I see.
Yes.
And a U.S. citizen.
Yes, they need to be employable. Right.
Okay. And let's see, custody of at least one child under the age of 18, and then a history of sober living.
Yes. We want to make sure that people have been sober at least a year before they come to us. I know that the track to sobriety is not a linear path, but we need to see a track record of sobriety.
Right. And then you said a clear criminal history and motivated to make a lasting change. And sometimes that's maybe the most important criteria of all. Everybody knows the situation that they're in, but how many are actually wanting to take the steps necessary to make an honest-to-goodness change in what their situation is?
One thing that really motivates me about this is the potential of seeing the children watch their mother transform from someone who is so stressed and scared and being, living in this place of fear and maybe anger at the world.
Sure.
To be able to transform into a successful person. And that's going to reflect on that child. And let's just think about what that's going to bring to this community whenever an entire family gets on a different path.
Yeah.
It's going to be just a different place.
Yeah. So now construction, we can obviously see the buildings are being built. When do you anticipate that the construction will be pretty well wrapped up?
We are on track to be complete on September 6th.
Okay.
That's the date I'm being given right now. Now,
depending on the rain and the weather and the wood and all that other stuff.
Right. In the world we live in right now, supply chain is an interesting situation. So.
Yeah. Well, we went from an economy that had basically on-time delivery of whatever it was that you needed. If you don't have it in stock, and you call and it's here the next day or that afternoon, to shutting down the whole economy to, well, we're kind of sort of getting everything up and running again. We'll have that for you in November.
Right.
And it's just,
well, my hats off to Jane's Construction and to Scott Taylor, our building liaison. They are really keeping things on track.
Yeah.
And they have dealt with many challenges, rain in particular.
Yeah, well, that's right, which has been a little unusual this year. And then, so if construction stays on schedule and gets completed, when do you hope to have your first residents moving in?
November.
November, okay.
And one thing I want to notify our community about is that we hope to have an open house mid-October.
Okay.
And at that point, we want you to come and celebrate with us, but we want you to also take a tour and see what is here in our community now.
Yeah, before the first residents move in,
Yes.
so where you're basically running through somebody's house.
Yes, and because we will not have visitors while our residents are in the building.
Sure. Now, if anybody wants to learn more about the program, or maybe they want to ask you about the FLC position, Family Life Coach, right?
Family Life Coordinator.
So if somebody's interested in inquiring about that position, applying for that position, or maybe they want to inquire about applying to be a resident or know somebody that would be a good candidate, what can they do now? Go to your websites and stuff?
They can go to our website. We on our Facebook page, they can message me. Can they contact the radio station for my contact information?
Absolutely.
I know that when I listen to radio programs, I don't necessarily have a pencil with me to write down, but
No.
people are welcome to call me, email me directly. It's Braun@havenofhopenm.com.
Okay.
So-
Yep. And we'll have your card here, so I'll have it, Tana will have it. So if you do call the radio station, we'll be happy to share Anita's information.
And if people are interested in being a resident of our program and a beneficiary of these programs, please reach out the same way.
Okay.
I'm ready to talk to you.
Are
And
there
come see me at the fair.
Yeah, well, you'll have a booth at the fair?
Yes.
Okay, next week, Tuesday through Saturday. Are there any specific requirements that for the FLC position that do they need to have a certain type of college degree, or what? Is there any particular aspect of their experience they need to have?
Life experience is probably the most important thing. Minimum education is high school or GED.
Okay.
It would be great if someone had more education than that. Ideally, I would love to have someone who had been a social worker at some point,
Okay.
or someone who was involved in counseling at some point in their career.
Some experience there, yeah.
But someone who's been a mom
Okay.
or a grandmother. There all those life experience things that come from just school of hard knocks and common sense.
Mm-hmm.
We need
And
that.
so it'd be a full-time position, and you actually live there with
Yes.
the other, with the residents that you're
Yes, it's not a
coordinating
24/7 job. It's an 8 to 5 job with on-call.
with on-call.
But
Okay.
the life is lived there in the cottage in their own apartment.
In their own apartment. Excellent. Anita, is there anything else we wanted to cover today?
No, I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for being with us, and we're going to have Anita back once a month through the rest of the year so that we can keep people up to date and let them know. And when we get closer to the open house, I'm sure we'll want to come out and invite the community to come out and take a look when all that happens. So
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
knock on wood, everything stays on track, right?
I think it will.
All right. Anita Braun, Executive Director of Haven of Hope, New Mexico in Artesia. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks. Have a great day.
You too.